Hey. I know you guys love my ponytail. Ooh, it's so incredible. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wash my hair tonight, so that's why we're dealing with. I had those French braids in for like a very long time. It's like 6 days or something. So anyway, okay, so let's talk about this. I know you guys just love my little creation. I don't know what this is. Um, Okay, so let's talk about it. I want to talk about Bama Rush, and I want to talk about. There's a video that Kimberly just released. I want to talk about it because I feel like we actually differ a lot here, and it has to do with some of the reasons that I've moved the way that I moved, or that like I have Instagram accounts, or so much because I for a very long time like I have not wanted to be like a role model of anything, but I swear to you, like, people for some reason give a shit what I do or what I don't do. And it's like always like black people trying to understand me, cuz like I didn't grow up in this like in the black church. I didn't like, I don't know, all the things that are like very traditional and like super black. Like I didn't grow up like that. Like I grew up studying Japanese Buddhism, like I don't know, just every single like, also I grew up in the predominantly like white community. um but I wasn't Christian. And even like the parent that I did have that was Christian, like I attended church as a young person like 3 times in my like whole life. So and I don't know what, like, it's just a matter of like, I will say like a lot of the educational experiences I had, like a lot of my teachers just they made ethics make sense in a practical way. Like there were things that I saw happen in school, there were things I saw happen with like other parents, with other teachers in the community, and like we would talk about them and I would understand them. And then that's really, I personally believe in ethics. And maybe I don't even want to call it morality, because I feel like a lot of morality is stemmed off of religion. And if you don't come from a place where you understand that religion, is it technically moral if you didn't, like, morality comes with like knowing better. Ethics comes with like doing the thing that you believe is right given what you know. So some people, like, especially like kids of color living in poverty, I feel like a lot of them try to make like the most ethical choices that they can given the information that they have, and a lot of them just don't get they don't have any grace, right? Like society doesn't give them any grace when they make bad choices, even though good choices like weren't presented. So like there's just a real need for like good choices to be presented. I also think this is interesting because Fick made a video today that was about some coach who, like, he coached a football team, right? And it was a football team of like black players, and it was like a fake team. But he got all of these kids like really excited, and they were training, and they were building up, I guess, like skills in a sense that could be like useful for, yeah, just being a member of society, like diligence, ritual, like habit, things like that that are like probably good for whatever it is that you want to do. But he was like scamming. So like, and I feel like we gotta like be serious about that being kind of like commonplace in the black community. Like people doing, it's like two sides of the fence, right? Like, so it's like Andrew Tate says something about like some part of like masculinity, but then he's also a pimp, and so we're like, take the good and the bad because there's nobody else. Yeah, it's like the fresh and fit, like demonizing women, but then also not really being in traditional relationships. Like, I understand. I don't know. Maybe there was like a need at a point. Like, I don't actually I don't really get it. Like, the people who want to be in good and happy relationships with families are. They like truly and honestly are. And then, like, I saw Candace Owens did a clip where some OnlyFans girl goes to the movies in like a like really slutty outfit, And I just kind of wonder like why. I mean, you should be able to wear whatever you want, I guess, wherever you want. But yeah, I mean, that's like a place where like a lot of families go. So that is kind of weird that she's dressed like that. Like if there's an outfit for every occasion, right? Like maybe she should go to like a nightclub or something wearing that. Like that would be an appropriate outfit for a nightclub. She should wear that outfit to a nightclub. Like that would be appropriate. Like people would be like, "Oh my gosh, she looks so like, whatever." So, I don't know. There's just like a time and place for everything. So like that the outfit that she wore was probably a nice outfit, just not for the movie theater with families. That's a thing. Anyway, that's not what I really want to get back to this Alabama rush situation and this sorority. White sororities. I'm gonna start by saying this. So, the Lotus Eaters posted this video that was about how the replacement rate in the UK and Europe is dropping, and basically what that means is that like the people who are there are not having enough children to like replace themselves, and so basically you're gonna have this aging population with not enough people born to like take over. And this is like a real problem. It's a real problem. But the interesting thing is I don't know if I think it's 2022 and 2023 combined. This is really funny, and I could talk about it as though I cared, but I mean this I'm just not passionate about this issue. I just think it's really funny. So the most common birth in the UK and Europe right now is to a Pakistani or Indian mother. So Indian children are being born most frequently in the UK right now. That's more than white women, more than any other population. And like I haven't heard anyone talk about this. Also, like just I think on planet Earth right now, the most children per capita of anyone being born are Indian children. Like India, the birth rate is just like it's so large. Like they just keep there's so many children being born in India. It's like I don't really know. I have quite a lot of issues with Indians. I think that their like racial caste system is a serious problem. I have so many issues with like Kamala Harris. Like I will say this once and I'll say it forever. Like Africa for Africans, and like I just want to make it really clear like all the things that I'm doing as like a black woman, as an African woman, it's not for everyone. Like I totally understand. Like I'm not the cup of tea for like every person. It's not like I'm not going for that. I'm not trying to be that. Like, but also like I know that like for my particular demographic, like we are different. This is why I've had to make content about like who are like Habishas in America, like what they're doing, the ones who are into like pop culture and into Americana. Now let's take a step forward into this Bama sorority Americana. Now, white sororities are a thing. They've always been a thing. I feel like to an extent, schools and places that I've grown up in are very proximal to places that are dominated by like white sororities. Now, a really big part of this, like I don't know how to put it. This is why sometimes, and not for sometimes, I've been looking at like the okay, so like places where there's like white sororities and like it's like primarily based on like white, maybe not whiteness isn't a good way to put it, but like how do you say, whatever, I'm gonna keep going with this. They like really prize like beauty, so other interests include like music, movies, sometimes like fitness. Like really popular movies are like Clueless. That's a really common film. It's really popular just because she's into the clothes. She likes fashion. Really, like any of the models, like Iman Hammond or Cindy Bruno, like they're examples of like girls of color. Now we have like Justine Skye, Lori Harvey, like fashionistas who like clothes and stuff. That definitely is not like every single girl. And it isn't like even most girls. Like most girls don't seem to know much about like fashion. They don't know much about like styling, clothes. Yeah, like those things aren't, I don't know. People just like don't know how to dress. They don't know how to, put on makeup and just get their hair done, nails, things like that. Every girl doesn't know how to do that. So I guess there really was a need for like black beauty YouTube to come and, show the way in a sense. But beauty is a commodity like anything else, meaning it has a price tag. Like if you have a budget of 0, it's going to be very hard for you to maintain like a beauty budget. So like all over the world, like all over Latin America, all over Africa, there's a ton of like beautiful people who have like the foundations of beauty, like maybe like the bone structure, the really great skin, the height, the body proportions, things like that. But they don't have like the wealth to, highlight it with makeup, or the clothes to really like, show off the outfits. And so the thing about the cool thing, the thing I actually admire about the Bama sorority girls is that they are doing that. They are basically like having, it's like a lifestyle of Americana, right? Which is like it's elevated into the college level. This is why we have movies like Mona Lisa Smile that talk about how a lot of women are only going to college just to find a husband. Like that's the purpose of them going. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, going to college to study like women's studies and to find a husband, I think that's like probably a useful thing to do, just because it's like the next level of thought, I suppose, for women, being a woman. Um, Hold on a second. I want you guys to follow me for a second. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like this like next level of uh maybe like womanhood, right? It's like first you go through from K through 12, and hopefully like if you live in a relatively safe environment, hopefully a middle class environment, like if you didn't grow up in poverty and you don't have all of this like trauma porn, you're going to just like every year that you go to school, like you're going to grow as a person, like as a human, you're going to get like stronger and you're going to get smarter and you're going to like learn more about yourself. The learning more about yourself part is like so important. Like you're going to develop your personality, you're going to develop your like character. um and I do feel like sometimes that gets really lost if you get stuck in like urban traps, because if you get stuck in an urban trap, like let's say like as a black girl, you get stuck in like black poverty, then what happens is like all of those lessons about character, it's really hard to apply them because you have to make these like trade-offs for your livelihood. Like how am I gonna, you shouldn't have to worry about like how you're gonna feed your family if you have like a husband and an education in any developed country. Like that shouldn't be your primary issue, but I swear like for so many women it is, and that's nuts. That's really not cool. Anyway, so let's go forward for a second. So these Alabama frat girls or whatever, I feel like to an extent their fraternities are just about like them all being like middle class, like upper middle class, say, and just having like fashion, doing girl things, just having pretty like American girl experiences that are based on materialism. They're like material girls in college. And I honestly don't think that there's an issue with this. I don't see a problem with this. The only issue that I personally have, and it's an issue that I've had for a while, is that like I know that like that isn't my story. And it doesn't really have much to do with class, because like especially like growing up, like my mom is just super tall. She's like almost 6 foot, and she's like the fashion person. So I had all of the clothes, like all of the looks, all of the clothes. Now it's just a really big problem is like racialized socialization because we've had so little representation of like black women doing fashion things and being like this, female archetype. And I'm talking about like black, like African women, not like some other women of color. I can't go there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like black women. um like even those girls would look at me and be like, what is that, like what? So they couldn't even identify, like if I was wearing like a really cute outfit, they would just be like, they knew the brand, they knew everything, and they couldn't just respect the fact that like I looked beautiful in the outfit, but it was simply like because I was black. And I will say maybe like I think a lot has changed since then because like we have a lot of representation now, and so I feel like across the board people kind of understand like what is a pretty black girl, like what is a cute outfit, and they can like just like girls in girl worlds can identify like, oh, this is like cool and this is not, and this is like hip and this is not, which is another reason why I think it's so important and why I continue to do it. I keep highlighting like the black versions of like those Alabama frat girls. There's like there's always the wannabe black ones who are just like, they're like poor and black, and they'll take like a photo and you'll be like, that's not, it's not giving. Like we need Cindy Bruna, we need like Iman Hammond, we need Justine Skye, we need Lori Harvey to like go out and like show out, just like show the fuck up and like really be like wowza, so that everyone kind of knows like, oh, this is what it means to be black and wowza. You can't have like Carisha on her own, or like JT, or like Ice Spice or something. Like these women are not representative of the best of the black community. They're just not. And the thing that I want to really like highlight here is like, it is okay for like white women, especially the ones in those frat sororities, to be like feminine and to have their groups and to have their classism. The whole point of like classism, it just means that like your family worked or earned enough money so that you could buy like you have disposable income that you could spend on like fashion or wine or trips or whatever, right? It means you have just like a kind of like a life of luxury, and that's not a bad thing. Like everyone aspires to this. And so to have a version in America with like white American women who are like just almost like celebrating that in a place like, the University of Alabama, which I think is totally like a PWI, it's in the South. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I actually think that's kind of necessary now, especially with the like people of color story. And this is another reason why I continue to say over and over again and really like stand in this place like firmly cemented, like I am black from Africa. Because like my story has already been told. Like those sorority girls from the white sorority girls like understand my story, and at one point in time it was very disrespected. I don't really feel like that's the situation now. There are definitely some people who will still be like, I still hate black people, I don't like them, but at the same time I feel like they probably know enough to like understand like, okay, like I don't like them, the end of the story though, you know what I'm saying? The thing that's happening with like the people of color shit, and I think I wanted to insert that story about the replacement rate and what's happening in the UK, because like I never thought I'd be this person, but like I didn't think that the like POC thing would go so far that like all of the groups who feel like they've been like marginalized for whatever however long now feel like everyone should take it out on white people. Like that's kind of weird. Like I don't know. Here's what I think. Like I think that if you're doing that in your own land, so like I think like the Hawaiians who are talking about, what's happening in Hawaii, I think that makes sense to me. They're like native people of the Hawaiian land. If they're talking about their tribes and customs, I understand that. The thing that I don't understand, it's like there was a video that came out a while ago where there was this like Asian woman, right? And she said she's an Asian woman with like brown eyes or something, and she was making it was not even a joke. She was like, ooh, like all the like white guys love me, so like now we're gonna have a whole bunch of like white and Asian babies who are gonna have like brown eyes, and now there's not gonna be any more like blue-eyed babies because like people of color, take over. And I heard that and I was just like, wow, wow, wow. That is actually like another form of racism. That was super interesting to me. And I didn't actually hear anybody like push back against that, which I also thought was really funny. And then also like I think it's just so funny to me when like Indian people come over and then like all of the other groups, especially like white people, that they just like accept them and they'll be like, oh, you're brown, therefore I should just listen to you. And it's like they don't even realize it. They're like the most racist group. Or like Arabs. Like right now, Arabs just murdered a whole bunch of Ethiopian people. That was like yesterday. That was yesterday. Like what? I don't understand. Like when did things change? Things didn't change. They didn't change. And then the weird part about it is like people like to sit here and pretend like I'm brand new. My opinions have just come out of the sky. I am making shit up. I don't know. This is another reason why I think it's just like useful for at least for a minute for everyone to separate. And this is I feel like I've kind of been doing that with my channel just by like slowly highlighting like Ethiopian like Habesha girls just doing shit like hey like this is our space of the internet. It's just one little space, right? I don't want to be totally like connected with Black Americans. Like I also don't really want to be totally connected with America at all. Like I would like to make content that is getting closer and closer to like me returning to Africa. There's like a smooth little transition out. It doesn't have anything to do with like the oppression of anyone else. But the thing that really gets me all the time is like those same girls who are like the those white frat girls or the people who are like very traditionally like white, all the things that have to do with like whiteness or like white womanness, they are always the ones who come up to me and they'll be like, oh my god, you're so beautiful, oh my god, you're like the prettiest girl I've ever seen. Like they always say shit like that to me, and I'll be like, oh, I'm an African girl, I'm just like a Black African girl. And it like I think because I've done that so often, and this is like in the real world, like I'm not doing this and some like, oh, like I'm going out trying to promote, like no, like just living in the real world. I think it's kind of made people kind of question a bit like, okay, so if they're like, if I exist and I'm like sitting here right now, then why is it that the rest of the Black community keeps pushing out Ice Spice, Jay Wada or something, or whoever the girl, JT, I don't know, whoever the Black girl with the mic, Gorilla, okay, and they'll be like, these are the Black girls, and it's like, how? And I don't think so. I don't think that those girls are really representative of not all, most, no. Those girls are here and those girls really exist, and wherever those girls are getting their culture from, I think that's real. I'm not trying to take that away from them. Nothing. But like also my story is real. My story exists. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like agree with it. You don't have to identify it. It's not really even here for you to unpack. Like I just created this channel for I want other like young Habesha girls to find it and be like, damn, there was somebody who just made something. It's like a person like Lillian Tasegi. I just really appreciate her just making content to just whatever. She just exists, and that is just so powerful because you do have to just really live in a world where you understand that like there are other women like you who exist and who just did something. Also, just let the Alabama Rush girls exist because like they are pretty, they are girly, they are having their like fashion moments, drinking their Starbucks or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that that's a cause for hate. I think if you want to join the movement, and you want to be like a Black girl who's drinking Starbucks and making content or something, you can do that. Like nobody's like stopping you from doing that. But I do want to say like somebody posted this on my video, and I gotta say I agree with them. They were saying, yeah, but like all the black girls are like really overweight. They're all fat and like out of shape, and like they don't take care of themselves. And it was like, that's actually very true. That is very true. And who is forcing them to be fat, and who's forcing them to have all of these issues? It isn't the like white frat girls who are doing that. Like, where are the, I want to see Dorothy Dandridges out here who are like doing shit. I feel like maybe Helen, I will put on dresses and give you guys the best Dorothy Dandridge I can give. I've just, my mental health, okay, has really set me back. Your mental health will really take a fucking toll on you. So like, this channel for me, thank you. We're at 593 subscribers. You guys are the greatest. You guys have really helped me on this healing journey, because every night I know that like I can come and talk to you, even if there's like 100 of you, or like, 20 or 30 or something, who are like coming to consistently like watch. I appreciate you. I see you. Like I said, this channel is gonna start getting really fun, because I have a lot of Easter eggs to unpack, and I know like you probably don't have the time, but I have so much content on this channel that you could explore. And a part of the next resurgence of this channel is gonna be me like repurposing that content and kind of telling my own those stories in a better way. They're also something I'm thinking about incorporating into songs and writing, just because there's all of these adolescent moments I feel like I actually had, and I had them, via Finstagram. I had them via other avenues, but I didn't talk about it publicly. And so there's almost this idea that maybe it didn't happen because publicly I didn't explain that it happened, but it definitely happened. It definitely happened, right? Even if you don't know that it happened and I didn't explain it to you. So yeah, I just wanted to break that down and say that. But again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here. Um, there's some really fun stuff to come, so just stick around. But also, don't be a hater. Instead, like, square up. And also, just really realize, like, there is actually quite a lot of representation, quite a lot of pretty black girls out there too, who are like, I'm here. I'm a pretty black girl, even if, I might not be on a fresh and fit couch or anything, but that doesn't mean that like, you don't have to be on OnlyFans to be like the shit. So